Maranatha, my PBC family and friends. Pastor Brian here with another quick bite, living the word. Today, our word's going to come from 1 Timothy chapter 6, and I'm going to read just, I'm picking up at verse 6, and I'll just read down through verse 9, and maybe 10. I'll roll down to verse 10. But anyway, and just read this, and I'll come back and tell you why this is upon my heart this morning. It says, "But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us therewith be content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which, while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." Now, what's interesting about this passage, and what made me think about this passage this morning, is I was feeding my dogs, of all things, as crazy as it can sound, and they have to have two different types of food. They just one has a less fat diet, for lack of better terms, because just issues he has. But anyway, long story short, I have two dogs. I have two different foods for them, and so as I was feeding both those dogs this morning, it was amazing to me. I'd watched them as they were sitting there, and they weren't eating this morning. I couldn't figure out why they weren't eating, and so then I walked away for a minute. I come back, and the one who has the more, for lack of better terms, the more higher quality food, the more tasty food, for lack of better terms, I can imagine, not that I've tasted it, but had walked over to the other one's bowl and was eating out of it. And the other one was just standing there like, what do I do? This is my food, I didn't know what to do. And it was funny to me because I was thinking about this, is that yet when that bowl is empty, that same one who was trying to eat on the one dog's food will go back to his own bowl. And this reminded me so much of this passage here in Timothy, because really, in all honesty, godliness with contentment is great gain. But we're always sitting there looking at other things going, if I only had, or if this was da-da-da, and we always kind of fill in the blank whatever you want, whether you're not content with what God has provided for you. So the food and raiment, therefore, be content. I mean, if you got food and you got clothing, be content. I know that sounds awfully strange to say, especially in the modern age in which we live, when nowadays it's all about he who dies with the most toys wins. But honestly, that's not how this game should be played. As Christians, we should be going, okay, Lord, everything you provided for me is just great gain. It's just blessings. The greatest gain I got, the thing I really needed, even above food and raiment, Lord, what I needed, I received at the cross of Jesus. That's why Jesus would say to Paul, my grace is sufficient for thee. So let's just remember that today as we kind of want to look around and start thinking that if I only had this, if I could only eat that, I would be happy. Because truth be told, even when that's gone, you'd go back to what you already have and be thankful for it. Because that's what you really need. So I hope this encourages you today. As always, remember that godliness with contentment is great gain. Let's focus on being content, people. Remember that I love you, we love you, God loves you, and God's got this.